Hi, welcome to this new lesson. This time we would like to see what a data pipeline is. So it's a very common item in any data engineering backlog, and it's very important to have its definition in mind. So in a simple terms, a data pipeline is a sequence of steps that you will define to move data from point E to point B with some optional transformation steps in between. So it's very simplified because it doesn't mention things like operationalization, of course deployment, infrastructure definition, but nonetheless it's a key part to know and to understand about this before going further and see other details in this lesson. You can see an example of a data pipeline. So we have a database which is considered as a data source, and there is always a data source in data pipelines. Next to it, you have the data processing logic that will take the data from the database and transform it. Maybe applying some filtering logic, some mapping, or maybe even converting the row-based format to maybe some columnar format for analytics, and writing all this to files on some storage. We can say it's an object store. So it's a simplified definition. As I said before, you may skip this data processing part in the middle. You may also add this data processing step after the files so that you use a different paradigm that will be detailed later in this module. But anyway, it's a key part. So you have source, you have an optional transformation, and you have the data target destination, which is also called data sink. Here is a more complex example. So we have two databases, and our data transformation must reconcile somehow these two databases into one data set and write it as an output to the files. So it's an example to show you that there is always one input, but you can have multiple ones eventually. And this one input may not always be of the same type. So you may have database, relational database, and you may also have some JSON files stored somewhere in a distributed file system, processed together and written as a single data set to distributed file system somewhere else. And there is also the version I have already mentioned, the simplified one, when you in summary, you just want to copy data from a database to file system in our case, but generally you just want to move data from point A to point B without transforming it necessarily. So previous example was for the batch pipelines. I will detail again this later in this module. And this you can also, on the screen, you can also see the example for streaming pipeline. So for more real-time scenario. And you can also plug these two words, so the data in motion and data at rest words together in a single data pipeline. And generally all I wanted to share here, as I said, is a simplified vision. I didn't want to include a lot of technical details because we have time for that. But anyway, I hope you understand the general idea of data pipelines. And if you are interested in other more specific use cases for batch and for streaming, I invite you to the next lessons. Thanks for watching.